Welcome in to this edition. Blue Sky Live here with you this morning. Sorry, trying to get my ducks in a row a little bit. I think we are ready to go. Appreciate the people in the stream with a little earlier start today. My fault on me. We've got a few things. Also, have football today. Got baseball tonight against Memphis, starting a four-game homestand this week for the Rebels. Might be actually at home past that too. But anyway, four home games this week. Memphis tonight, Florida Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Coming up, a Florida team 0-6 in the league, and not exactly what the Gators were anticipating. And then all the eyes are on Ole Miss basketball headed to Atlanta. They face Michigan State on Friday evening, 6:07, 6:09, something like that on the start time. So we'll get into all those things and more coming up today. Show brought to you every day by Blue Sky locations throughout the state of Mississippi, including here in Oxford. You know about Sweet Daddy's locations. Look, they got catering, they got lunch specials, 5.69 here locally. But if you need to take care of a lot of people, you got plenty of options there with Sweet Daddy's wherever they are located. They've got ribs, pulled pork, side items, briskets, and much more. And again, Neil, he is home. He is back from the Midwest, back from Milwaukee, and he's in the Clark Ford studio for what, about 24 hours, Mr. McCready?
Uh, yeah. I'll be on the road tomorrow morning after the show, but it's good to be home for a day. That's for sure. I got in last night about 12 hours ago, so I've been home about 12 hours and leaving again in the morning. That's okay though. That means things are happening. Yeah, Clark Ford Studio. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote. And the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. And that is hop into a Clark Ford today. Again, 662-257-1900. Guests join on the Campbell Clinic hotline, from fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions. The pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi, providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit campbellclinicoxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
Avery, I was asleep at 3:07 this morning. Now I was up at about 4:05, but I was asleep at 3:07. I'm having a little bit of a hard time though. I am waking up some mornings between like 3 and 3:30, and going back to sleep has been a bit of an issue. So we are dealing with that a little bit. What time did you get home, and when did you get in bed last night?
I got home at about 7:15. Um, I went to bed around 10. I was tired, but I wasn't like just zonked. I slept a little on the plane. I slept the quick little flight from Milwaukee to Chicago. I think I fell asleep. So it was like a little cat nap. Then I slept a little bit on the plane from Chicago to Memphis, and then drove back. And I crashed pretty hard, but it was hard to wake up this morning. I didn't get up till after, it was like 6:35.
So you went Milwaukee, Midway, Memphis?
I went through O'Hare.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I flew United.
Okay. I have kind of gotten away from Southwest, so I've been in O'Hare more lately with different
Yeah,
different things. I mean, you still used to hit that Southwest Midway thing, but I've kind of gotten out of it now.
I haven't flown Southwest in a long time. I've got a credit that I need to use. Um, so if somehow, some way, Ole Miss goes to the Final Four, I will probably use it.
Well, what's standing in their way with that is Michigan State, and then is either the Michigan Wolverines or the Auburn Tigers, of course, here coming up. Everybody's still trying to jockey for tickets and look at what is ahead to get to Atlanta. You know, obviously the more you win, the more fun. But in a lot of ways, it's been kind of nice just sort of watch the fans, watch people interact and enjoy what you've said for so long. I mean, I was trying to think about what we're going to talk about today. We're obviously doing basketball, and we don't get overly analytical. I did put some Michigan State stats up, by the way, on the site this morning. They are, I mean, clearly very good. They are 29-6. They play defense a little different way than Ole Miss does, because Ole Miss tries to create a ton of turnovers, a lot of steals, and Michigan State is 300 and something in steals, only 7.8% of their possessions defensively. However, they affect almost every shot. They force you into bad shots. They don't give you a lot of free shots from outside. And I'm getting away from my point, but that's fine. It's a little early and we're just rambling. So I'll go here first, and I'll go back to what I was going to say a second ago. Is Neil? It seems like just statistically, when I'm reading through them, a huge key in this game for Ole Miss is simply getting that extra pass and getting those clean looks from three, because Ole Miss has to hit 3-pointers to win this basketball game.
Yeah, that's why they're where they are today. They shot the ball well against Iowa State in the first half, and they were electric. They worked their offense. They got clean looks. They made the extra pass. It's what, not to get soapboxy here, it's why when people do the whole NBA sucks, all they do is shoot threes. It's analytical, and what the NBA does, the good teams, is they make the extra pass, and not only do they shoot threes, they shoot good threes. They shoot open threes, as open as you're going to get with 6'9" people with long arms flying at you. But they make the extra pass. The offense has a rhythm to it.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State's known. He's been there forever. He's won an absolute ton of games. He's produced a bunch of NBA players. He's got great culture. His players come back. He probably has the college culture that most coaches, if they were honest, would tell you that that's what they would kill to create someplace. There's continuity. There's trust. His teams play hard. And yeah, they affect shooting. They make you work your offense and take good shots. And so if you get impatient and you start taking bad shots, and I haven't looked at their stats yet today, it's on my list of things to do. I have not done my Michigan State deep dive.
Yeah.
I suspect they rebound the ball well. They typically do.
Let's look at that. I don't even know. Let's check that out real quick. You're the coach who, as soon as like one game ends, in the post game press conference, they go, "Hey, what can you tell us about Iowa State?" And they go, sorry guys, hadn't gotten that far yet. I don't know, hadn't looked. We'll get there. I'm not sure.
I did that to Chris on after the North Carolina game, and I thought his answer actually was telling, because he tried to play into that a little bit, and he was kind of revelatory of, we've got some people that have dove deep.
Well, he was interesting with it for two reasons. It was that, number one, that, hey, we had all the analysts that went ahead and got that stuff done. And then it was also, hey, I watch a lot of college basketball, so I simply have just seen them, because we know that's what Chris does. I mean, Chris's hobby and his job is the same thing. And that means that he is hanging around, and if he has a decompression, it is actually watching hoops to decompress. So that changes things a little bit in that way too.
Yeah, he watches a lot of college. He watches a lot of NBA. He watches a lot of basketball, which is probably do if you're going to be a really successful basketball coach. You probably should watch a lot of basketball. You learn a lot. But looking back on it, and I've heard this. I don't know it to be true. I haven't asked. And it's hindsight. Nobody cares now. But even me, I don't know that I care enough to go ask about it. But I am told that they felt really good about the Iowa State matchup all along.
You are correct in your assumption, Mr. McCready. Michigan State is number 2 nationally in rebound margin. They out-rebound their opponents by on average 9.9 rebounds per game. Let's see. So St. Mary's is number 1, by the way. Michigan State number 2 rebounds per game. Michigan State is number 13 in total rebounds a game. Defensive rebounds a game, Michigan State is 9th. So yeah, point stands. I haven't found their offensive rebounds a game, but either way, they rebound the hell out of it.
Yeah, the offensive rebounds will be the thing. I mean, that's always Ole Miss's sore spot. That's the reason that the first few minutes of the game Sunday looked bad, is they were getting killed on the glass, and it was like, dude, you guys you're not going to be able to win if it's going to be like this. And it's essentially what he said in the huddle, I think, is you've got to make this personal. You've got to crash the glass or we're going home. And they did, and then the game turned.
Michigan State is 19th nationally in getting offensive rebounds, and they are 8th nationally in preventing offensive rebounds.
Yeah, so the lesson is, to beat them, you have to run your offense. You've got to make the extra pass. You've got to shoot the ball well. And you have to be effective defensive rebounding because you're probably not going to beat them on second chance points. And if you're Ole Miss, you do the thing that you're good at, and that is protect the basketball. I think they had 4 turnovers in the last 35 minutes the other night. Protect the basketball and force turnovers. That's you have to do what you do well, and you have to minimize what you don't do well. And that applies to Michigan State too. They're not going to win the game with 18 turnovers against Ole Miss. They're going to win the game by committing 10 turnovers and forcing Ole Miss to commit 8 or 9. And then they'll get some rebounds and they'll win a 4-point game. Ole Miss wins the game by committing 6 or 7 turnovers, forcing 13 to 14, and losing rebounding by 5 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's how you win a 4-point game.
They made a point up here, Ole Miss, if you want to count Louisville 3-0 versus Blue Bloods this year, obviously North Carolina, Kentucky. Louisville count? They're like half, 3/4 of a Blue Blood. We're gonna count Louisville.
Unless everybody's wrong, and I've talked to a lot of people, them sons of bitches are going to be Blue Bloods next year.
Louisville?
Have a shit ton of money.
Are they going all in?
Use my language. They're all in.
They're interesting because their just athletic budget in general is unlike it's unlike any SEC team, but the way they're structured, they get so much money out of basketball just from different revenue streams outside of like the way the conference pays that they have a huge athletic budget. I mean, that's a sneaky, really big athletic budget there at Louisville, and it's almost all basketball centric. That program just rakes cash in 1,000 ways, especially now they're playing at the Center and like everything else. It's from a balance sheet standpoint, it's sort of an outlier program in a lot of ways there for them. So yeah, I could see them getting all in on that. That's not surprising.
And the only other thing I'll add about stats and stuff is this time of year, and I haven't done it, and I don't know that I'll have the time to do it anytime soon, but you almost have to go dig into the stats and enter like a since X date. Like you almost have to go like pick February 1st and go since February 1st, what has this team done? Because teams do, like Ole Miss has changed since December. They almost play a different kind of style of ball since December. I think Ole Miss is not finally, it's not the right word. It's actually why I think I enjoy the NBA so much is that it's such a long schedule that you do eventually figure out who you are or aren't. And as the season goes on, the games get more interesting. That happens in college basketball too. I think teams figure themselves out. Ole Miss has really figured itself out. Like if you go back and look at the last 5 games or so of the regular season, the 2 games they played in the SEC tournament and the 2 games they've played in the NCAA tournament so far, there are a lot of trend lines there that I don't know if they would hold up statistically. I suspect they would, but like I have a pretty decent idea of kind of what they're trying to do with individual people, and I don't know that they kind of knew all of those things early in the season when you threw this group of newcomers into a room and went, all right, let's figure it out. I think they're much more. They figured it out a lot more in March than they had in January.
Well, and then you look at Michigan State in that way, and a team that goes 29-6, there's not tons of pain points and lumps in that schedule, but they've only lost 4 times since Thanksgiving. They lost twice early in the year to Kansas and Memphis, both those on neutral sites. They run off a ton of string of wins against a bunch of teams, and they lose 3 of 4 at the beginning of February. They lose to USC and UCLA back to back, both on the road. Okay, whatever. I mean, SC wasn't very good. 70-64, 63-61. They beat Oregon at home, and then they get that home loss against Indiana. It was a weird game. It was right when Mike Woodson was either fired or right when he was getting fired in the middle of all that turmoil. And Indiana went into East Lansing and beat them 71-67. And from that point, they're 10-1 with the only loss, a 77-74 loss to Wisconsin in the Big Ten semifinals that Izzo probably was ready to go sleep in his own bed, and it didn't freaking matter anyway. And they beat good teams. I mean, Ken Palm ranks of the teams they beat during this stretch 17, 16, 20, 10, 12, 63, 20, 28, 12, 149, 41. I mean, it's an impressive run there for Michigan State. I mean, Ole Miss is catching a very hot Big Ten basketball team right now.
Yeah, I mean, this
You're
is
in the
kind of
Sweet 16. It's what you do. You run into teams that are pretty damn good.
well, it's kind of like when you get to a super regional. The
Yeah.
other team in the other dugout's good, and if they're not good, they're hot. It's one or the other, and usually it's both. Because everybody that's in a super regional just won a regional, literally every time. And so you've got that now. Every team that is in a Sweet 16 just won their 4-team tournament. Every one of them, all 16 of them, they all won Alabama won their 4-team tournament. Tennessee won their 4-team tournament. Michigan State won its 4-team tournament.
Yes, they won a regional.
Yeah, so everybody's playing either pretty well or they're streaky. And you have to figure out which is which. And I mean, Ole Miss is just playing well. That's why there's people that are, God, I wish we gotten a different draw, or I wish this, or there's no freebie in this deal. I mean, I promise you, Bruce Pearl looks at this and goes, shit. This is, I mean, now if Auburn plays the way it played in the second round, they're probably going to win. But he knows that. They've got to play really well from here on out. They've got to play smart. They can't have stupid stuff because he's got a big physical Michigan team on the other side. And then on Sunday, if they get there, he's either got to beat a Tom Izzo team that would be at that point be 10-1 in their last 11, having just beaten Ole Miss, or he's going to play an Ole Miss team that they've played 3 times, and he's got to deal with the psychology of that. I promise you he's cheering for I bet he's cheering for Michigan State in his heart of hearts. I'm sure that the league part of him is very genuine, where he says he hopes that as many SEC teams win as possible that doesn't impact his team. But he probably doesn't want to see Ole Miss a 4th time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to convince your kids that, hey, this team that you've beaten 3 times, including one time where you smoked them, they can get you. He probably could just show them the Nashville film, though, and they're not stupid. They would know that these guys knocked down some threes.
Yeah, they made us work by being cold as hell from outside. So
I keep going back to the Nashville tournament, and I think I'm onto something. I really do.
You're kind of craving an Ole Miss Auburn game soon to be able to kind of run into this a little more, aren't you?
Well, I would be excited to cover an Ole Miss Auburn game on Sunday because I'm not. And look, Auburn would be the favorite, and they should be the favorite. But it would be interesting to watch because I do think that day in Nashville, had Ole Miss not played the day before, and look, that's part of the deal. The tournament is set up to reward regular season success, and Auburn absolutely earned the double bye. Clearly, no question. I'm not. There's no disrespect here. I just think Ole Miss is surging. That's all. I kind of saw that coming because I thought on the Thursday game against Arkansas, I thought Arkansas played really well. I still do, and I think I've been validated with that there in the Sweet 16. I thought Arkansas played really well that day in Nashville. I thought their guards, the 2 young guards, I still screw up their names, Richmond and Wagner. And
Billy Richmond was awesome down this. I mean, he kind of won that game for them. He was great.
He's been really good for them in the tournament. And the Knox kid, I can't think of his first name. It starts with a K. Carter Knox. I thought he played well in that tournament. And you were like, he's kind of coming along a little bit. They were kind of figuring themselves out. Trevin Brazil was playing well. Jonas Adu played really well that day against Ole Miss. They fouled him out. And otherwise that may have gone differently. But my point was, I thought Ole Miss had to play really well to beat Arkansas that day because I thought Arkansas played really well. And then they turned around the next day and maybe they just had a dose off their legs from having played 24 hours earlier. And maybe that was the reason that a few shots just didn't fall. But had they shot the ball a little better, that would have been – they created open looks against Auburn. They just missed them. And there could have been a little something there. We'll see. And we might not see. We'll see if we see.
I had put a star by this comment from Mark at the very top of the stream, so I want to go back to it for a second because we're talking about matchups here in the Sweet 16. He says Torvik has BYU the number one offense since February 10th, as Neil mentioned, picking dates and trying to see where they are right now. They're 11-1 since then, only lost to Houston in the Big 12 tournament. Mark says Bama doesn't want to run with them, but they don't know it yet. I mean, as Neil said, there's not a number high enough on an over Bama and BYU because
Yeah.
I don't think either team has the ability to slow down and play any kind of ball control in that game.
No, they both just go, so that's going to come down to maybe who just shoots it better.
Mm-hmm.
Or who can play enough defense to create some turnovers and get some swings. When is that game? Is that Thursday or Friday?
It's got to be Friday, right? Because it was the Ole Miss day.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm pulling it up. A little bit of just news across the country last night. USC women blew out Mississippi State 96-59, but Juju Watkins, maybe the best player in the country, she suffered a season-ending injury with her knee last night.
Yeah, I saw that. She went down, and I said, that's ACL.
Yeah. It has made UConn the overwhelming betting favorite, not South Carolina, by the way, in Vegas. Just for whatever that's worth. Let's look at it again. Let's pick some games. Why not? It's Tuesday. BYU and Alabama is the very first game of the Sweet 16. It's at 6:09 on Thursday. Remember, they're all night games on these first two rounds. People, they don't scout them out throughout the day. BYU, Alabama, as we mentioned yesterday, Bama minus 5.5 in this game against BYU. You like the Cougs or you like the Tide? I like Alabama. But I've been wrong on Alabama all year. I've been kind of an Alabama shill, and I keep getting wrong and getting beat on it. So let me also preface that.
Yeah, I think I'd go Alabama, but it's close. I mean, BYU's a really well-coached basketball team.
Who'd they hire? Who's their coach?
Can't think of his name. Dude did a great job, though.
Was he like an assistant or something, or did he come from somewhere else?
I can't remember.
Okay.
This is my weak spot. I'll be honest. I told somebody yesterday I didn't have Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on my bingo card this year. I'll be more prepared for next college basketball season than I was this one. I didn't see this coming. And if anybody out there says they did, good for you.
Kevin Young, he was the associate head coach of the Phoenix Suns.
There you go. And they're running NBA stuff. That's what you notice when you watch them, is they're running NBA stuff.
Okay. He had zero college experience.
Well, in this day and age, I don't know that you need it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to build a team more than build a program. Are you a team builder? Can you put a team together? Look around who's in it. For the most part, it's people that are really good at building teams.
Well, I mean, we've said it forever on Beard all year. As one of his positives is he's been at JUCOs and small schools and places where you're just losing your dudes year after year after year to other places, and you got to find a way to figure out continuity and talent all in one little fell swoop there in a week. I mean, it's the way it works. The damn portal opened yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it yesterday. I'm not going to belabor, but Jesus. Was there any crazy SEC movement? I'm asking the stream. Neil and I have both been incredibly out of pocket yesterday.
I saw where Calipari made a comment. I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts on Monday morning. There was a Calipari made a comment after their game and people criticized him. He was like, he basically was saying it's stupid, and he's not wrong. I don't know why people you can on one hand go, oh, poor baby, you're making millions of dollars. Once you get past that, you can go, but he's not wrong. If you're Chris Beard today, you're preparing for Michigan freaking State in the Sweet 16. You've got to have some advanced coaching on scouting on Michigan and Auburn. Luckily for Ole Miss, they know Auburn pretty damn well. But you're having to work on those two teams. Oh, and you got to get your travel together because you got to go to Atlanta tomorrow. Oh, and you've got to be speed dating all of these people in the portal, and you don't
And
even
your
know
own
the.
team.
And at some point this week, I guess you've got to sit down with Malik Dia and say, so what's
What's
up?
the number?
And then you got to figure out what you're doing there. And that's, what if that conversation isn't perfect? Is he going to take that into the game? That it's stupid. I don't know why we can't admit it's stupid. I don't know why everybody goes, Calipari's an idiot. I'm like, no, he's not. I mean, you can think Calipari's a jackass or arrogant or whatever you want to think. That's cool. What he said on Saturday afternoon in Providence is not wrong. It's not wrong. He's right. He shouldn't be having to do this. They have a turnaround. They fly out, I guess, today, right? Because they play Thursday night. They fly out today to San Francisco from Fayetteville. So that's 4 hours in the air, 5 hours in the air. He's got to get his team to San Francisco today. They got practice. They got another day. They got to get ready for Texas Tech, difficult assignment. They've got to advance scout Florida and whoever Florida plays just in case. You got a lot going on, and you have a team full of dudes that have decisions to make. You need to ask them. You're telling me this can't wait a week and a half? Why? He's not wrong.
No.
And
I'm
the
assuming
people give the answer of, well, he makes $8 million. Okay.
That doesn't change the logistics of having to actually do it. Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't alter it.
I say, what does that have to do with anything? What if he makes $800 million? That has nothing to do with anything. It's still, from a timing standpoint, he's got to sit down with Richmond and Wagner and those kids and go, so what are you guys thinking? And those guys probably haven't had a real chance to really dive into what they're thinking. And then he's got to figure out, okay, how many – am I bringing in 6 guys from the portal? Am I bringing in 10 guys from the portal? What am I doing? Again, I thought when he said it the other day, I kind of thought, and Lane Kiffin commented on it on Twitter, where Lane Kiffin was like, kind of, welcome to college football, bud. But it was like, yeah. And, it's why when Lane does it and people complain about Lane doing it, I'm like, he's not wrong. He makes a lot of money. I'm like, okay, but that has nothing to do with the fact that Lane's not wrong when he says this system doesn't. It doesn't really make sense.
It's not fair to the kids. The kids are having to make decisions potentially right now because what also happens is there's a ticking clock where spots fill, especially in hoops. You only got so many spots, and you only have so many times you can pay somebody a lot of money to play one of those spots. So kids are going to feel pressure to expedite this and be making these decisions potentially while they're still playing in Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. It's not just even on the coaches. It's a system that the kids probably, without really thinking about it, go, oh, this is awesome, and look at the freedom. But it's like, no, it forces you into crap.
Yeah.
At a bad time.
And it was like, I wrote a story about this on Saturday. It didn't get any feedback at all. So it either just got buried or it wasn't any good. And it was one of the ones that I thought was actually really good. Maybe it's a notebook. I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know that anybody reads anything anymore. That's the one thing I'd really love to know. I'd love to know like deep dives on reading analytics. But I asked TJ Otzelberger was asked about the portal and about what he looks for in the portal, and I thought his answer was really interesting, and so I presented that to Chris. I was like, hey, TJ said this. I'm curious what you look for and what you listen for in the portal. And he gave a really good answer that was very similar to TJ's, but it was different. And it was like, man, that is not only speed. It's not speed dating to figure out who you're maybe going to take out on Friday night. You're speed dating to figure out, hey, who am I going to date for the next year and maybe longer? It's a lot over just like a quick cocktail sitting there for 5 minutes.
I'm picking the kid who I'm going to have to count on next March in like 4 days.
Yeah, I've got to figure out whether this kid can handle my coaching, whether he can handle adversity, whether he can handle difficult times. Can he be coached? Is he going to buy into team? Is he going to accept a different role? I got to figure all that out in a couple of Zoom calls. Shoo. Good luck. Yep. That's hard. Oh, and at the same time, I got to get my team ready to play. Because 4 of these teams are going to be playing again next weekend. These opportunities are precious. I mean, it's where you begin to, like, you see all the excitement with Ole Miss, and it's deserved. You should be excited. It was a fun environment. It's like we can have this conversation later in the week. It's in many ways, this is the most fun sport for fans. When your team is good and your team makes the tournament and your team goes on tournament runs, it's more fun. It's a 2-hour and 15-minute window. It's intense. It's indoors. It's got this feel to it. It's all that. It's when your team is good, it's probably the most fun sport for fans. I know a lot of people disagree with football and stuff, but I'm kind of getting to a point here. It makes you appreciate when you see like what an Izzo has done over decades. That kind of thing. It makes you appreciate what they've built, what Pearl's built at Auburn, what Rick Barnes has built at Tennessee. When you see how cool this is, and you look at these guys that do it year over year, you realize, man, those guys are really, really talented.
I'm glad you went there because it's actually the thought I had that I didn't come back to that I promised I would, is that, for so long, and this isn't anything to do with the freaking baseball, basketball thing, just in general, you've talked about how much fun basketball is with runs and the tournament. I mean, it's not that nobody didn't believe you, and it's not like that Ole Miss fans argued that was wrong, but they haven't done it in 25 years. I mean, the only other Sweet 16 run is 2001. So the only time you've come into a tournament and been the one team that comes out of that 4-team pod was in 2001. And I feel like what I've seen on the board and throughout the fan base in the last 48 hours is like this realization that, hey, it might be even cooler than I thought it was. And it's like you tell somebody, but until they actually see it and they feel it and it's all in their loins and their emotions and stuff, it doesn't come out the same way. And it's just it's just kind of been, I guess, affirming in a way to go, yeah, see, it's this. This is what this feels like. Really cool, right? College basketball is cool. It's fun. March is awesome. So let it be awesome. Just go.
It's really hard to beat. And from a product, again, I'm not making fun of football here. We make our living off football. Go football. But I mean, a college football playoff game takes 4 hours. It's not always as intense as this. The end is usually kind of intense, but you know what I'm saying? A baseball game, sometimes those games kind of drag on and it's a longer deal. But that intensity of a tournament game is difficult to match at the college level, in my opinion. Just a theory, just a belief. And yeah, I mean, I don't do the baseball, basketball thing either. I'm a firm believer in telling people you should spend your time and your money where you want to. Whatever that is.
Win everything.
But you should try to win at everything at the SEC level within reason. You should try to win at everything. You should absolutely try to be a part of the tournament. The tournament, if you think that positive exposure athletically helps a university, I don't know if it does or does. I have no idea. I assume that it must because everyone generally feels that it does. Then, yeah, you should make basketball a pretty big priority. Other than football, it gets the most attention. The men's college basketball tournament, period. No debating it.
That is two crazy stats because you mentioned the longevity of it and what those fan bases have been able to enjoy year over year, and that's why North Carolina's in shock right now. Grind says North Carolina lost in the round of 64 for only the third time ever. So they have won at least one game in the tournament every time but 3 throughout their history. And then when Arkansas beat Kansas, that was Bill Self's first round loss since 2006. So Kansas has at least gotten into a game to go to the Sweet 16 every year since 2006.
Yeah, they looked shell-shocked walking off the court.
Yeah, like this isn't. But they also have very rarely been a 7 seed. I mean, yeah, they were a 7-10. So, yeah.
Yeah, they were 7. and they ran into a hot 10.
Um,
But the other thing about it, and I'll say this, the other thing I love about the tournament, there was a question on the board about, hey, how did you get that locker room access? How did you get those one-on-ones? Did Ole Miss just allow you to do that because they won and they were happy? Nope. The NCAA has a requirement that locker rooms be open for a period of time. I think it was 30 minutes because I literally got kicked out of the Ole Miss locker room on Sunday night. I was a minute and change into an interview with Sean Padula, and the guy was like, "Time's up," and he was just like, "It's on the site." I think I put it up. He was being so loud, and then later he apologized, and I was like, "It's all right, it's no big deal." You're just doing your job. You probably could have spared an extra 30 seconds, but I get it. There are people that are sticklers, and 7:15 means 7:15. Ooh, it's all good, but but that's how. I mean, I went in and it's one of the reasons I love the tournament. I love that it allows you journalistically to get something different. Like we get football today. We're going to get Lane in a group setting, and we're going to get somewhere between 2 and 5 players in a group setting. And most of our competitors, for lack of a better word, are going to vomit all of that content to you as fast as humanly possible. Just immediately. We're all going to have the exact same quotes, the exact same video, and they will vomit it all. And that's one of the things I love about the tournament is that I worked on different things. Like I was able to, I actually watched a moment in the game, and then Chris talked about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm writing about this. And I wrote about it yesterday morning. It was about Ole Miss got off to a horrible start against Iowa State. Like I literally wrote a couple of paragraphs of an obituary during the first TV timeout. But I looked over at I was watching Beard, and they'd come out of that TV timeout, and they were playing, and there was a foul, and he called Murray over, and Murray came over to him and put his hand on his shoulder. And I remember thinking, man, as pissed off as this dude is right now, I wouldn't touch him because he's pissed. Like he's boiling right now. Like his you couldn't tell it, but like if you'd put a thermometer in his ear or something, it would have registered like 170 degrees. His blood was literally just in a rolling boil at that moment. And Juju Murray put his hand on him, and I thought I saw him say, "I got you, coach." Just kind of calm. And then after the game, Chris said that Juju's one of those guys that calms him. Mm-hmm. And so I went into the locker room, and Juju's sitting there back in the back corner in his locker, and the locker next to him was Cam Brent's, and Cam wasn't sitting there. And I said, "Can I sit here for a minute?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "I won't keep you but a minute. I just have one question." And I told him, I said, I led the question with Chris said, blah, blah, blah. And he said, "Chris Beard?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "That dude," and he gives me this great answer that I was like, oh, this is awesome. Not only is this a really interesting story that I think tells a story of how this team got here, mm-hmm. but I've got something that nobody else, not that I've got something nobody else has, but I've got something that nobody else has, and I can
There's some meat here. Yeah.
I can marinate on it for a minute, and I can kind of think about how I want to put this together. I don't have to go just regurgitate it as fast as humanly possible, the way that the football content will be done today and I'll do some of it too. But like I have a show with Siski today at 2:00, and so I'll have a break where I can't sit and write football, and I will look up at 4:00 and everyone else will have written 17 football stories. And then those people say, well, it's the part of it.
Well, as I mentioned, though, on Monday, this is the most irrelevant press conference Lane Kiffin will ever have today. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There has been no news since last Tuesday, and we are actually in basketball mode at the moment. Like, okay.
And he would tell you that. That's one of
I'm
the things I
wondering
love.
what he's going to say. I mean, because he's going to talk about the basketball team for the first 90 seconds today, and then
Yeah. I mean, I'm planning to have a little fun with it, if possible. But I know what's coming. How's the wide receiver room look?
you've had a week of spring. Can you talk about the tailbacks and what we're seeing? How they're doing?
How does your defensive line look? I mean, he's just going to look at you like, guys, it's the last week of March. Number one, I don't really know. Number two, I wouldn't tell you if I did. I'm not going to tell you where we're disappointed because we've got to go into the portal, or where we feel good and now we don't have to. He's not going to give you that information. And he's not going to, if I say, hey, how's your wide receiver room look? He's not going to break it down. Well, this guy looks great, and this guy looks okay. We're a little worried. This
guy's going to play for Troy next year.
And this dude sucks. And we've already kind of told him privately, hey, we got a connection at North Texas. I'm making North Texas up out of the blue. He's not going to give you that. So why ask it? Drives me nuts. I will be the guy that today just. And then what happens to me in this deal is that I check out mentally, which is a weakness on my part. And then I don't want to take the mic because I don't know if I accidentally am about to ask something that somebody's already asked 5 minutes ago. And
that is a lonely place when you zone out for a minute and you go, I have a question and I'm not 100% sure that it hasn't already been asked. I'm just not quite positive right now. Like, so yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. It's one of the reasons I hate quotas. Yeah. Is that people start going, well, I've got to write 10 stories from this press conference. So if I ask him a question about linebackers, I can take his answer about linebackers and
write a linebacker story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stacy, thanks for super chats. This fantastic coverage, Neal, adds so much to our experience as fans. Much appreciated. Stacy, enjoy you in the stream most days when you are here. Somebody asked me up there. I'm a Braves baseball fan, but I'm the most checked out I've ever been. I didn't even feel right claiming the World Series because I have not been locked in and obsessed with it since the infield fly game against the Cardinals in like 2010 or 2011.
I flew into Chicago yesterday, and on the way out, you could see the skyline. And for just a split second, I was kind of had a little go Cubs. And then I was like, screw them. I don't even know when they play. I don't even know when they start. They played the 2 games in Japan. I've not followed them at all since they got back. I didn't even watch those 2 games. I've never been more checked out on. It's proof that you only have so much emotional capacity. I mean, I'm pretty in on the Thunder. I mean, I sat on Wednesday night. I got to Milwaukee, and it's cold, and it's rainy. And there was a place right across the street called the Swinging Door Exchange. And I went over there. I just was craving something to eat that might be quasi-healthy. I got a grilled pork chop. And I was probably the only person in the state of Wisconsin in that moment that was live streaming the Thunder and the Philadelphia 76ers on his phone. I was probably the only one. And I do remember thinking to myself, you're sick. You need help. But yeah, I don't know that there's anything left for the Cubs.
Yeah, if you're in a city with all 4 sports teams, you do not care about all 4 equally. And there's one you probably don't care about at all.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if you live in Boston, you're not like, oh yeah, Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, and Bruins. It's like, no, come on. There's a hierarchy, and it really falls off after 2. You get 2.
Yeah.
It's one of the problems there's a lot of problems. I mean, Neal's laughing because he understands the intricacies of the NBA, but it's one of the very general problems with the Pelicans in New Orleans is they're LSU fans and Saints fans. And
the Pelicans are run so poorly.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Part of my deal with the Cubs is like the Thunder are run so incredibly well that I have no patience for how poorly the Cubs are run. And so I'm just like,
you think it's affected your Cubs fandom because the Thunder are efficient?
Oh, efficient is not the word, but
okay,
in the realm of efficiency, yes.
Sorry.
I mean, the Thunder are run brilliantly.
Yeah,
I mean, people who hate the Thunder say that.
I mean, there's the argument they're the most well-run team in all 4 professional sports, major
absolutely.
sports.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's a short list.
They're in the very small discussion of teams that are put together in an efficient manner to survive labor issues, long-term, short-term. Oh, yeah, I mean, no doubt. And so I watch how they've done it, and it's been brilliant. And then I look at the Cubs, and it's like, what are y'all even trying? Are you even trying? What is there a strategy here, or is it? Hey,
Neal's getting like aggressively pissed just because of the situation.
I mean, like in the Japan thing, I don't even know who it was. Some dude got a hit, and he was their second baseman. I'm like, who is he? And that was the first time in my life that someone played actually for the actual Cubs, and I was like, I have no idea who that dude is. And that's when I realized there's only so much emotional capacity.
Knox in the stream says, thought I was going to become a Wolves and Twins fan when I moved to Minnesota, but saw how they were ran and noped out. I saw the Twins are for sale. I think they're wanting $1.7 billion and apparently are really in debt. So I don't know who will jump on that potential grenade or windfall, depending on how you want to look at it.
Ooh, Avery says we were at a dinner last weekend and the wife was trying so hard to have an in-depth conversation and the husband was streaming March Madness. Ooh, boy, you playing with fire there, champ.
Well, you're also playing with fire, like if it's not your team. Like,
yeah.
If you're just watching random Alabama St. Mary's and you're a UCLA fan, like,
yeah. Or
just catch the highlight in 45 minutes. Look, it's not worth whatever is coming for that from you later. Like, it is not worth it.
If it's your team, that's when you got to say, listen, babe.
Yeah, tonight's not dinner night.
Tonight's not the night to go to the nice dinner and sit and have a glass of wine and really have a conversation. This is not that night.
This is war paint night, okay? We're in the tournament.
I'm distracted. Now, tomorrow night, sure. Or the night before, I'll make it happen. I'll put my phone away. But tonight, or that 2-hour window is just, that ain't it, babe. I don't know why. Why would you do that?
I wonder if they're the people who just go there every single week, no matter what, and order the same thing.
Yeah, maybe so. But you got to change it up at that moment. You got to go, that'd be like us going to dinner game 7 of the NBA Finals. Come on, what am I doing? What we're going to talk about what we're doing with the living room at this point? No.
Neal's preferred method of watching really important games is completely alone in silence and isolation. That is actually the preferred way to do those things.
Oh, there's a lot of truth to that.
Oh,
there's a lot of truth to look. I got to get this is yeah, like the Thunder playoff stuff that's coming. I don't need a lot of company at that time.
No, it's why I've only done it one time, and I think you were there. I think it was me, you, and Jeffrey watching the Saints Seahawks games. Is I refuse to watch a Saints playoff game in public. It's like, hey, let's go to the bar, and it's like I'd rather be shot 9 times. God no. I want to be able to turn it off or turn the channel or go in the other room. Like, no.
I don't need to hear other people cheering for the other team or other people trash talking my team.
Oh no, it was that was a regular season Seahawks game. It was the 49ers Saints playoff game when Vernon Davis scored 12 touchdowns, and I was in the bar in Oxford with all the Patrick Willis fans wearing the damn 49ers jerseys. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Name another player on the team. One. Yeah. Anyone.
Yeah. Name anyone else. Literally. Quarterback included. You can't, can you? Bitches. I just don't need to be in that environment. I don't, that's.
Yeah, I walked in, they're playing the 49ers, and I was like completely outmanned. I was like, what the hell is this? Okay, good. Sweet. Yeah. Awesome.
That's when I go, I give myself credit. I know me well enough. I'm good.
Is your mood going to be Thunder dependent in the playoffs?
Nah, I mean, look, I think they're at a point. I think they're 59-12, 60-12. They're at a point where if they don't make the finals, it's probably disappointing. but they're still at the very beginning of the window. They have tons of assets. Literally everyone on the current roster is under contract for next year. They're going to have to pay Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a gazillion dollars, but it's worth it. They've prepared to do it. No. I mean, if they don't win it this year, they didn't win it because they either got hurt or they're young. But there's no guarantees. That's the thing about playoff windows. And getting back to Ole Miss for a minute is, while I think Chris Beard's going to be here a good while, and while I think as long as he's here, they're going to win because he just wins, you never know. Look at USC last night. Juju Watkins, they weren't prepared for that. Their championship window just closed.
Yeah, their title was very real. There was like 4 teams that could win it, and they were one of them.
Yeah, so, no, I mean, on one hand, sure, if they don't win, I'll be disappointed. On the other, it'll be, well, I enjoy them. I enjoy watching them play. I find that I find them, they play an aesthetic brand that I enjoy. I like their players. I think they're one of those teams that, and this is starting to happen in college ball a lot. Like Otzelberger talked about this, Chris Beard talked about this, and I thought it was really interesting about, and the Thunder will say these things, and when they say them, you go, oh, shut up. And then as it plays out, you're like, I don't know, maybe they're serious. Sam Presti will say we draft people before we draft players. In a small market, you don't have the bright lights of New York and LA and Philly and Chicago and Oklahoma City. It's a different kind of a deal. You've got to have a certain kind of player. And so when he says that, you're like, come on. But it kind of bears itself out. And then, so I think for the fans, they get to sort of know the players a little bit. And I think you begin to realize over time that a lot of the stuff they do is pretty genuine. And that makes them pretty likable if that's your team. And then they play really pretty basketball. And they beat the Clippers the other day with Sunday night. I didn't watch it, obviously, because I was covering a game. But I saw some highlights and then listened to a couple of podcasts about it. They beat the Clippers with Jalen Williams out, Chet Holmgren out, and kind of did it with system. Shai didn't have his best game, and they just played a system and won the game. And that's the stuff when you look at it and you're like, that's elite. It's the reason I enjoy covering Chris Beard a lot. Is he's elite. There's no question about that. I've got a mailbag question. I'll let you help me answer it. Okay. Where would you rank him among college coaches? I don't really like doing that because I don't feel like I'm expert enough. But I think he's top 5.
He's definitely top 5 when you get into every weeds of it, because you can make the argument that he's 2 had Texas Tech won one basketball game. I'm having a hard time putting him behind Hurley right now. And then here's what I don't know, and you can help here. And I'm being serious when I say these things. He's been at sort of, keep me in context, okay? Don't jiff me here, like, because of how this is going to sound. In context to the programs he's had, he's kind of like the on steroids version of Mike Leach, that he's only had one season at like a traditional power that would be winning national titles. Texas for the 1 year. Yeah. It's Texas Tech, and it's been Ole Miss. It's places where you're having to build so much to that point that I just think it's unfair to like completely go, oh, well, here's the results and that's what it is. That's not the way we do this. So I don't think you can have any list that doesn't have Rick Pitino number 1. He's done it across decades and eras, and I have no ability to consider anybody else number 1. He has 29 20-win seasons and national titles at multiple programs. What Hurley is doing right now, I've got him up there. And then after that, I'm kind of right there because here's the deal. I don't even know how to judge Izzo and Self and Calipari and those kind of guys in this era that is so new, that I think Beard's actually better suited for talent if everything else is even and we're going pound for pound. If you give Chris $10-12 million, he's going to put one hell of a roster together.
Oh, if if the thing in Austin doesn't happen, and I think they would tell you they made a mistake. They should have.
Texas would definitely be playing right now and would be one raw hell of a basketball roster.
Yeah, they misjudged. They should have put him on paid leave and let the investigation play out.
Mm-hmm.
Charges got dropped. They could have brought him back. He'd be fine by now. The attention span in our country is so short.
Yep.
And look, he wasn't even charged with anything. So, I mean, people, I saw someone the other day go, he wasn't convicted. I'm like, dude, he didn't go to trial. I mean, the DA literally said we don't have enough here to bring charges. Well, that makes you innocent. As I've said many, many times, there's two people in the world who know what really happened.
Yeah.
And a DA was charged with looking into it and came back and went, there's not enough here. Not going to get a conviction at trial. But if you throw that out, he's still the coach at Texas today, and they're probably about to win a title. He's of the people I've ever covered, he's the most elite. It's incredible. Like this weekend, man, you can say what you want about Hubert Davis, and that's fine. North Carolina, it's still North Carolina. And then TJ Otzelberger's a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a really good coach.
He's a top 10, 12 basketball coach. There's no doubt.
His teams have an identity.
He's at Iowa State. He maximizes it.
You don't play for him unless you play hard. You don't play for him unless you understand what their system is, unless you put the work in. His teams are disciplined. That was a good basketball team, Iowa State. That was a good basketball team. You don't, or were they the 3 seed? They don't hand 3 seeds out. And I mean, they just almost just beat them. At one point, we're up 25 points in a tournament game that was basically a semi-home game for them. Remarkable. It was coaching excellence. He's elite at what he does. And so the next it's not time to get into this now because you got to go in a minute, but it's the interesting part of what's coming is that for all of these schools at the end of this week, really, not even the end of the week, it's like right now, if the number that's flying around is true, is a lot of schools have to decide how committed are we to that number? Can we get that number? And how do we get that number? Do we take it from something else? Do we gamble that we can raise it year over year?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like Louisville, there's a story out, and I think it's legitimate. I think the story's true. Louisville's going to have $8 to $10 million. There are 3 SEC teams. I won't name them, but they're out there. And all 3 of them are still in the tournament that are talking similar numbers, $10-ish million for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they have 10 and you've got 5, it's going to be hard to keep up with them.
10 million for what is essentially a 10 or less rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and so you can't then turn around and get mad at the kids if a kid goes, so like the kid at Iowa, I can make $400,000 at Iowa, or I can make $1 million somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
If someone comes to me today and goes, hey, you can make $100,000, you can make $400,000 at Rivals, or you can make $1 million at the Topeka Times. Hello, Topeka. I'm on my way.
Hey, you're covering preps and Little League. Okay, all right, cool, sweet.
How about that? What
Little Johnny's getting his name in the damn paper, boy. Woo, boy.
Not only that, we're doing a deep dive into Little Johnny. How you like that peanut butter sandwich? You like the crust on or off? Yeah. Why is that? Yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame the kids. I think the system's stupid, but as long as this is the system, it is what it is. And so if the people that you're competing against are going to commit $8 to $10 million, you've got to, if you want to win, if you want to maximize your opportunity to also win, you're going to have to think about going there. Because I don't know that a kid's going to go, I tell you what, man, this coach here, he's special. He's really good. but I can make another $400,000 at X.
Yeah.
I don't know that there are too many kids that go, yeah, let's go here.
Cash. All the cash. We will pick the rest of the games tomorrow. Got plenty of time to do that. Again, Ole Miss, Memphis tonight, 6:30 from Swayze Field, and then a really interesting series against Florida this weekend. Florida's not that bad. They're getting healthier, but they're 0-6, so just be aware of that coming in for this weekend before Ole Miss heads to Lexington next weekend. 2-4 for the Kentucky Wildcats. I put the SEC standings in the little potpourri thing I did this morning. It's got the Michigan State stats in it. It's got a few other items as well. As you can find that on the front page at rebelgrove.com. Yeah, we'll talk more baseball tomorrow. It's not time yet. This is basketball week, and we'll work baseball in where we can. Again, Lane Kiffin talking, players talking, got that stuff, that more at Rebel Grove also. So thanks for the people who jumped in on the early start time. Still a lot of you guys online. We'll appreciate that a ton, and we will continue on as the week moves on as well. So we will talk